Sure that you guys have copies of the slides so you can take notes. Everyone should have a folder for like a family folder, and everyone should make sure they have all the forms they need as you walked in. So did everyone grab everything they needed? Okay, awesome. Well, I'd like to first start off by welcoming you. My name is Jennifer Sutherland. I'm the head administrator. I have not had the privilege to get to know you personally. I'm very excited to do that over the course of this year. Please make sure that you know that my desire is to know you. And so if I haven't had the privilege to formally meet you, my door is open to always have a meeting this year, to just chat, to hear how your year is going, especially if you're a new family. Our desire is to welcome you well. And if you are a returning family and I don't know you, I apologize. Sometimes it's hard for me to know everybody, especially since this is a fairly new role for me. So anyway, thank you so much for being here. I know that taking a large chunk of a day during the summer and child care can be really challenging, but we are grateful. We really, truly, moving forward in these years to come, want to show you and express to you the value and the importance of this parent partnership. That this is absolutely a parent partnership in the sense that we will not and cannot do this job without you. That this is not a school where, and I said it at a re-enrollment meeting, where we are outsourcing the education of our students to us solely. It is absolutely you as the parent are the primary discipler, and we value that, we desire that, and we absolutely need it. So welcome. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to start us off in prayer, and then we will do introductions, and some introductions, and then hopefully by that time, Colson, thank you Colson, who's volunteering, who's here at 7 a.m. this morning, will have worked out all the logistics of our sound and slides. But luckily, I was a former elementary school teacher, so I have a really loud voice. So I actually don't even need a microphone. All right, let's pray. Lord Jesus, oh goodness, this school is yours, and we want to submit the families, the students, the staff, these buildings, our mission to you. Lord, we fully surrender. We acknowledge that you are our Lord and Savior. We acknowledge that because of you, we can continue step by step, day by day, supporting and loving these families, these mothers who have entered into a beautiful partnership. Lord, they are the primary discipler of their children. And Lord, we just want to today minister to them, minister to their hearts and their minds, to communicate encouragement, communicate how we can support and love them through this journey. Lord, this is a beautiful privilege that we have each been given uniquely. From my role to the parents' roles, to the students' roles, to our teachers' roles, Lord, we recognize that this is an honor and a privilege to serve you, and we do not take that responsibility and that purpose lightly. So thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus, for this beautiful morning. Thank you, Jesus, for each one of these families. Lord, would you please be in this time, be in our words, be in our thoughts, be in our actions. We want to glorify you in everything that we do. And we hope today, Lord, is a sweet offering of our humble servitude to you. We love you so much. And Lord, we just ask that you bless each teacher. Each teacher right now is preparing their hearts, preparing their minds, preparing their classrooms, their curriculum. Lord, they've been working, in spite of the fact that it's summer, they've been working diligently for weeks already to welcome each one of these sweet children. Lord, they are your children, and we submit them to you. We surrender them to you. And be in this day, Jesus. Give us strength, give us energy, and give us enthusiasm. Amen. All right. So again, welcome. I just wanted to welcome you. I'm Jen Sutherland, Jennifer Sutherland. You can call me Jen. This is my 6th year at the university school. I have 2 children here. We came from Austin, Texas when my son was in 6th grade and my daughter was in 3rd grade. I now have an incoming 9th grader and an incoming 11th grader. And I know everyone says this, but it's true. Like the days are slow, but the years are fast. And I am like already grieving the fact that my children are growing up in. But we have always been part of a university model school in Austin and here, and so I want you to know that I know what it's like to be you. I know what it's like to sit in service and orientation, a parent-teacher training, because I've done it, and I know what it looks like to have little ones in their pajamas trying to homeschool and memorize their Bible verses and do their IEW. So a lot of the curriculum that you are going to be introduced to today, I've taught. I've taught in the classroom. I've also taught my own children. So just know that everybody here today, when we stand up here and we speak to you from a place of empathy, and we speak to you from a place of we absolutely understand what you are going through because we ourselves have done it. So we are all in this together. So like I said, I have 2 children here, and my husband Dennis and I have just absolutely found this school, this ministry to be such a sweet blessing to us. And so we are hoping and praying that that is the same for each of you. So welcome. We have Jake Busby. So some of you who have returned, I just want you to know that over the course of the summer, some roles have shifted, titles have shifted. So we're going to do all of that at back to school night. So don't be freaked out when I start throwing out different titles for different people. Same faces, same people, just a different sort of role. Jake Busby in the back. He's expecting his first child with Casey in 5.5 weeks. So please be praying for him. We have had a significantly intense summer. And Jake's role has grown exponentially, and he's handled it with a lot of grace. And yet, he is also trying to prepare a nursery and get his house in order, love on his wife well. And so please extend a lot of prayers to him and encouragement to him. He has been waiting for this day for a long time. So we are super excited. So Jake Busby is our administrator of operations. He's going to be in charge of like all of the facilities, report cards. He still has his hand in advising. A lot of the other academic day-to-day stuff will be pushed into my arena. But Jake is also going to be our adventure program lead. So he is wearing lots of hats, and he is still always the go-to guy if you can't remember who to go to, and then he'll pass you off to somebody else. We have Christy Canada, our elementary school coordinator. So her title really doesn't do her justice. She is, because we don't have an individual administrator, principal in elementary, Christy is that go-to person. She is the person that you will ask, you know, hey, I forgot my child's water bottle. What's the dress code policy? She's sort of your first point of contact for anything that's like operational. When it comes to like, I just want to know when are the students getting out today due to finals or due to, you know, or when's the chapel schedule. So Christy's kind of is that role. Anything academic, you will go straight to your classroom teacher, and then there's like kind of a hierarchical approach there, which we'll talk about later on another day. Christy Canada greets you every morning, I know, with a smiling face. The other beautiful greeter is Jamie Cheney, who is Jamie Cheney has given her heart and soul to this school, and she has seen all the seasons of this school, and she comes with an immense amount of wisdom. She is our health coordinator. She's in charge of all of our facilities in elementary, and she is also, I get to be louder.
We're recording.
Oh, okay. Okay, I want to talk for you. Okay. to be in charge of facilities in elementary. That's why elementary always has enough toilet paper and is in tip-top shape. She's also going to be supporting Jake in all of our student safety, from lockdown drills to fire drills to COVID, which every single day in the news it's becoming more clear it's not going away. So you will be hearing from Jamie a lot from on that platform. So welcome, Jamie. She's also our PK teacher, and she's welcomes those little sweet ones with their backpacks.
Those kids on campus.
I have observed Jamie in her classroom, and let me tell you, oh my gosh, she's a fly on the wall with children. I just, it brings me back to my elementary days. We have Amy Bell. She is new on our staff this year. So welcome, Amy. Amy is actually my assistant, and I use that term very loosely because she is tender, she's gracious, she is humble, she is incredibly helpful. She even said, well, how do you really like your coffee, Jen? And I said, I can get my own coffee, but thank you for wanting to get my coffee. So Amy is going to be in charge of a lot of things in my realm, and one of the things that we actually just talked about is really protecting my time and making sure that I am not spread super, super thin. And so if ever you need to speak to me, I'm going to direct you first to Amy. Amy's going to be the one that will make sure that you are on my calendar, because I certainly don't want you to feel like I'm not available. I just can't have the, hey, real quick, in the street, and then it's like 45 minutes later and I'm late to my next meeting sort of thing. So all of that is to honor actually each and every one of you to make sure that you get heard and that you are seen. So Amy is going to be helping me with setting up those parameters, because I'm a chattykins, and so I love to chat and I love to be helpful, but in the reality of things, I won't be able to be available in the way that I so desire to be available. So Amy is going to be sort of that person that you're going to go to first and foremost. She's also taking on a beautiful role that we're having, it's like we're re-earthing it, I suppose, is homeroom moms. And in elementary, we know that that is super essential. And so Amy comes with a lot of wisdom from years past of a different school, another university model school. And so she's going to be speaking on that today, a little bit of what that's going to look like and how that role, these room moms, are going to support our teachers, right? We love our teachers. I have a huge heart for teachers, and so I want to make sure that they are well loved and well cared for. And so that's going to be part of Amy's role. Okay, so teachers. Some of our teachers, yeah, Jake. Christy Glaze. That's okay. Yeah, so on our slides we have, yeah, you're right. On our slides we have sort of like, we didn't include like we included sort of the elementary people, but since I'm going through it, we'll do it anyway, and we're going to do it back to school night. You are not unforgettable, Christy Glaze. But there's Christy Glaze. She is our admissions director. She's actually an administrator as well, along with Jake. So she is an administrator of lots of things. One, admissions. She's an administrator of, she's going to help and step into the student discipline realm when it comes to our secondary students with me. She's our theater director, and if you have not seen one of our theater performances, you must. It is like fairly magical, I believe. She is also in charge of donor relations, alumni, building up opportunities for us, for our school to be blessed by outside organizations. I'm not really explaining that very well, but Christy wears a lot of hats. So, Christy Glaze. We have Heather Johnson. Heather Johnson is also sort of a face that's fairly new to all of us. She started in March, and she hit the ground running in more ways than one. She is our business manager. She deals with all of our billing. She takes care of, she's intricately involved in our budget with Jake and myself. She does all financial aid. She's the one that you're going to contact, like if you have a question about facts and why you were charged what you were charged. Please be gentle and kind to her, because that is not a place that anyone wants to be, right? Like, tell me why I got another bill from facts. So remember, like, we are all doing our very best, and so sometimes we just have to be really cautious with how we're wording things, right? We want to serve you to the best of our abilities, but that is not an easy job, and so we also want to protect and love her as well. And last but certainly not least, Shayla, since we're going through everybody. I'm so sorry that I left off the other people. Okay, Shayla has also been here forever. She has watched her children go through this program. She has served the school in many different capacities. Shayla Hintz is our academic support coordinator. She's involved a lot in the secondary realm, so she does a lot of transfer credits. She does advising. She's now going to be stepping into a role for, and you'll hear from her in just a little bit about Parent-Teacher Fellowship. We're creating an organization of parent volunteers that can minister to each other, that can minister to our staff and our community. And so, so Shayla wears a lot of hats. She's also like our go-to about IT. She's also our go-to about how do you print labels. These labels that are looking very professional are because of Shayla. She's also kind of the red web guru. A lot of work that Shayla does is like on the back end, and she is one of just great hospitality as well. So, Hi, Shayla. Okay. All right, so that's sort of the rundown. I hope I'm not missing anything. So elementary school teachers. Some of our teachers are not here today. And I just gotta tell you, we had some teachers that left our school in elementary, and they left for, hey, I want to go home and be with my parent who really needs me in Texas, to I got a job that's closer to my children and where I live. And so what it looks like is that there were a lot of teachers that left, right? But our K1 teacher, Mrs. Michaela, left, but that would be 2 grades, so that looks like there's a large leaving, but there wasn't really. So I want you to know that God's faithfulness has just been so evident. When you're sitting in my position in June and you're going, I need to fill how many positions? And this is not an easy school to find parents that want, or teachers that want to work. 1, that are qualified, 2, that love Jesus, and 3, that want a part-time position. So I just have to tell you that God just brought amazing and wonderful and beautiful people. So I have told you that we have Jamie Cheney for our PK program. We are welcoming L'Oreal Clarkson, who is a long-standing parent. She's a long-standing teacher, and she is teaching kindergarten. And you guys, oh my goodness. L'Oreal Clarkson brings a tear to my eyes because she is so incredibly gifted. I have had the privilege of watching you teach, L'Oreal, in art, and even the way that you make the voices in the books of each individual character. I mean, every character has a certain voice. And these little kids, these little ones are just waiting for every look. It's just, the story is unfolding in front of their eyes, and it's a beautiful thing to watch. So, L'Oreal is going to be our kindergarten teacher. So well loved. So for our first grade teacher, we are welcoming Tracy. Tracy is not only a teacher, she is a mother, and she is stepping into this role with significant experience. She actually worked a lot with our students last year with reading, and so if you ever want a first grade teacher, you want someone who can teach reading. Early literacy, phonics, reading comprehension, word attack skills. She is confidently stepping into this role, and with a lot of courage and a lot of faith, because she's done a lot of praying. I have to tell you, a lot of our teachers that took these positions, they have prayed to make sure that God has called them to this, and that to me is like a testimony to their faithfulness and to who God is bringing to our school. So Tracy, we welcome you. She's our first grade teacher. Susan, she's our second grade teacher. I'm sure everyone knows Susan. Susan's been here. She's got 2 daughters. One is a 9th grader and one is a 10th grader. And, she drives all the way from Eagle Lake every single day. Like, that is like over an hour. So when you see her, she might need a little snack or not coffee anymore, but maybe just a bottle of water. I'm not sure. But Susan comes a long way, and Susan comes with an enormous amount of experience as well. She has a special ed background, so that gives us, even though we don't have a special ed program, even though that means we don't have services to support students with those needs, Susan has the ability to handle some of those within the classroom walls because of her expertise. She's also our master teacher, department head teacher for elementary, so all of our teachers go to her for those immediate academic needs. Just because sometimes I'm just not reachable, right? So we have a place for teachers to go for those direct questions. Hey, how would you teach this lesson? Hey, what do you think about Shirley English in this way? What if I did it this way? So Susan has made herself readily available to support our teachers every single day. So we love Susan. All right. For 3rd grade, we have Candy Tempest. Candy Tempest is not here today, and I know she would probably appreciate some prayers. She's experienced a loss in her family, and so please pray for her. She has 5 children. Her oldest Hunter just graduated 2 years ago, and they are a family that's been around for a very, very long time, and Candy is a woman of God, and she comes with, again, a lot of experience in the classroom. And her sweet spot is 3rd grade. So if you have a 3rd grader, you are very blessed. We have a new teacher for 4th grade, Stephanie. Unfortunately, Stephanie is not here today. She has COVID, which I probably shouldn't say that out loud, but I did. So just keep that to yourselves. So pray for her because she's stepping into a new role and she just got sick, and that's going to be challenging, So if we can come alongside her and pray for her and support her, I know that she would love that. She has previous experience in Texas from teaching 4th grade, and she has 2 students here, and so we are super blessed to have her. And for our 5th grade teacher, we are welcoming Cindy. Cindy comes with 20 years of teaching elementary experience, and we are so excited to have Cindy. She comes with an immense amount of enthusiasm. And she knows curriculum really well. She loves Jesus, and so we're excited to welcome Cindy. And last but certainly not least, we have Carrie McCabe and Michelle Jackson, who's not here. She's going to be attending in the afternoon. Carrie has also been a parent at the university school for at least, 8 years? 8 years. Her oldest is going to be a freshman. And then she has an incoming 7th grader and an incoming 5th grader. Carrie has taught 6th grade. This will be her 4th year teaching 6th grade. But this year, in order to make sure that she has the bandwidth and some time to be a mama, Michelle Jackson will be teaching science and math. And she will be teaching Bible, language arts, and history. And so they have already been working together to team teach well. And so 6th grade she's going to be speaking on 6th grade later today, but it's a very unique grade, right? It's not fully elementary, and it's certainly not fully secondary. And that's why if you have a 6th grader, we've asked you to be here because the co-teaching role is super, super important. So, okay, I think that is I'm almost done. Okay. Do we have any questions really quickly just on the introductions or anything like that I talked about? No? Okay. So this summer, we have spent as a staff two full days developing our vision, right? So we have a mission statement, and everybody knows our mission statement, but I'll repeat it. It says, we exist to ignite a passion for Jesus with parent partnership through our 5 core values, which are worship, academics, adventure, leadership, and missions. So that is our mission statement. And we step on this campus every single day saying our prayer, our hope is that everybody that comes onto our campus is going to know the name of Jesus and ultimately is going to fall in love with Jesus. And so everything we do is based on that mission. But how we get there, right, Jake? How we get there is our vision. And I think at times that vision has been a little unclear. And so our vision that we spent 2 days sort of praying through, talking through, coming up with the wording is, what do we really want our graduates from the university school to be, to look like? And so we came up with, this is our vision for this year, is to yield generations of students who are rooted and grounded in love, that they may know the fullness of Christ's love and be loved to others. We want your children to step on our campus. We want them to experience Christ's love in our staff, in each other, in all of our teachers as they feel known and seen. The fact that we are a small school, we know all of your children's names. And we can greet them as such. And so that's really unique. We had a high schooler that was new last year, and every day I walked by him, I would say, "Good morning, so-and-so." And every morning he looks at me like, "How do you know my name?" Right, because he came from a really, really large high school, public high school, and he was not known. And so our prayer is that your students are going to come and be known and feel the love of Christ and see Christ's face in us. We will do it imperfectly, absolutely, because we are imperfect. But we want them to be rooted and grounded in his love so that they can go out and be love to others. So that's our vision. We have 3 academic goals, same as last year, but for those of you that are new, yes, we want your students to know how to read and to write a 5-paragraph essay and to solve algebraic equations. Thank you, Renee Brower. But we really want them to be critical thinkers, right? We know in a day of information that it's super easy for our students to access knowledge, information, right? But we want them to apply that knowledge. We want them to critically think through that, what that means for them, especially when it comes to their faith. So we want to develop critical thinkers. We also want our students to be lifelong learners. We want them to be curious. We want them to wonder. We want them to say, I want to learn more about X. And ultimately, we know that that desire comes from the Lord, because we know that God wants us to continually learn more and more and more about him. That's until the day we die, right? We want to be learning more about who God is and who his character is in studying his word. And the last thing is, the third goal is not at all to be legalistic, not at all to say that this is works-based, but we want our students to say, we do everything for the glory and honor of God. That's not perfection, that's not A's, that's not even necessarily making sure that they never make a mistake forgetting their homework. But that's like, hey, every day I'm going to step up and I'm going to step out and I'm going to do everything for the glory and honor of God. And part of that is work, right? That's the grit that we want our students to have, that this is what they've been called to do. And every morning you wake up and you make the breakfast and you do the dishes and you do the vacuum and you drive the kids around, right? And so that's what you've been called to do. You've been called to minister to your students and your own children in this season. Well, our students have been called to be students, right? That's their job right now. And so we want them to do that to the fullest of their abilities. So, any questions before I step off? Any questions? Okay, I would like to welcome Carrie McCabe. She is going to come up and she's going to speak directly about, oh, it's working. Awesome. All right. She's going to speak directly about what does this parent partnership look like moving forward for this school year. Thanks, Carrie.
All right, my audience is usually 11 and 12-year-olds, so this makes me way more nervous. So give me a minute to just settle into it. So I'm usually not nervous, but I have the butterflies right now. Which is silly.
Did everybody get in the original packet the back side of this page? Did not print out. Did I get everybody that I gave you?
So
A back side.
we're gonna kind of be going through this one here, and then the correct one has a front and a back. It's 4 pages total. So I'm not gonna go, I know you guys can read, so I'm not going to read it to you. But if you wanna follow along, that is kind of, those are the points I'll be hitting on. So I don't really have an administrative role. Jen said I'm a 6th grade teacher and a parent, but I just continually every year I find that my heart just beats a little faster in a good way when I talk about this partnership with parents. And it comes from 2 sides, one being on the parent end and being on the teacher end, and just realizing how beautiful it is, how challenging it is, and how isolating it can be if not done well. And so I just find myself so wanting to, as we go through this, equip, encourage, and esteem you all, and join with you in this, because like I said, it can be beautiful and it can be a mess all at once. So, and on that note, okay, so let me just give you a little bit of a testimony. So I stepped into this as a parent when my oldest was in 2nd grade. So I had 2nd grade, kindergarten, and not quite preschool. And oh my word, I never dreamed of homeschooling. My kids started out in public school, and I thought, Lord, what on earth are you doing to me? And that first year, I realized I came face to face with the emotion of anger for the first time. I didn't realize I was an angry person until I started homeschooling. And it's just so true. I have thrown the pencils at the wall. I have, threatened, pointed to the public school down the road at least once a week. Like, I've done it all. So please know that I stand up here not as this is how you should be at home. It should be perfect, but that it's so messy, and that's what makes it beautiful. So that is my heart, and God has grown me in this role. I went from I can't do this, I won't do this, to I wouldn't have it any other way, because every single day that I'm home with my kids is an opportunity to see their sin, to see my sin, and therefore point them and myself to the need for Jesus Christ. And I cannot think of a more higher calling and a better opportunity to get to do that. So on that note, this is one of my favorite books ever. I highly recommend it. I listed it in there. But there's a lot that resonates with me. And so I adapted this little passage to kind of make it like a home day, like what it feels like for me. So, your house is noisy and not as clean as you'd like it to be. You and your spouse haven't been out together for a long time. The laundry has piled up once again. You just discovered there's nothing to eat or pack for lunch. You've just broken up another fight. The assignments on RenWeb look impossible. Your fax account has just been charged again. None of your kids around you seem to be satisfied, and you feel exhausted and unappreciated. So that pretty much sums up my day, Monday, Friday, every day, every week. But there's hope. And so when I teach 6th grade, I know one of what do you think their biggest question is always?
Do we get recess?
Well, after that, it's why? Why? Why do we have to do this? Why is this important? Why? So I have to be ready for a why, and it usually has to be a big picture why. They have to have some buy-in if they're gonna do what I want them to do. So also for us as parents in this co-teaching role, we have to have some buy-in. If this is just your role and you're just signing on and you don't have that bigger picture value, you're gonna give up, you're gonna throw in the towel, or it's just gonna be plain frustrating. So my role, my heart, right now is to kind of give you that why, and then also give you some tools and like nitty-gritty how-tos. So I'm going to start. I have to, Jen, I'm sorry, I have to put the esteem first. So it's actually the last point on the handout, but I feel like I need to lead with it. The goal for us, we want to just esteem you, equip you, and encourage you. So I'm going to walk through just briefly what that looks like. So esteem. So our goal here is that to highly value the God-given role of parents by communicating co-teacher expectations early, clearly, and often. So this is kind of where the meat of it comes from me. This is the why, right? This is the why. So I really just firmly believe that there is no higher calling that God has placed on us as parents right now. That we, actually, the book says it better than I ever could, so I tagged it. But nothing is more important in your life than being one of God's tools to form a human soul. Like, that puts a pretty fine point on it. And as soon as I forget that, my kids just become like products, or like that I'm trying to make them be something or do something, and they're not. I just get to be an ambassador and an agent in the work that God is already doing. So my job every day is to be a representative of Christ to my kids, and therefore also teach them. And so yes, you're going to be teaching. You're going to be teaching writing and math and English and things they don't want to learn and things you probably don't want to teach. Okay? But the bigger calling, right, is that you are there every day and that you are entering into the work that God is doing in your hearts. And that's where the privilege of this role comes in. Because it gives you that space and opportunity to do that, where a 5-day-a-week model doesn't. And I think some of you have heard me say this, like, nothing gives you more of an opportunity to talk about sin than a homeschool day. Like, it's like right there on the kitchen table or wherever you do school. All your sin, all your kids' sin, it's there every day. And what a beautiful opportunity to get to point them to Christ, point ourselves to Christ. So, understanding the goal and privilege of your role as a co-teacher. So, I'm going to just highlight the bottom point is that if we can view each moment, good or bad, as an opportunity to share the gospel and show our children our need for Christ, that should be the forefront of our day, every day. And I have to start with that and remind myself of that. Then also, we want you to understand your co-teacher responsibilities. We have not, admittedly, the school has not done that well in the past. So veteran parents, returning parents, we're trying to get there. New parents, welcome. We want to try to do this better. We recognize that we have not really given co-teachers clear roles or clear expectations or the tools to do that. And we want to improve that. So I'm going to talk about a little bit of that in the next slide. And then just also as we value, I want you to know that you're not alone. That the enemy wants you to believe that you are the only mom that's doing homeschool that day, and that is doing it poorly, right? And that your kid is the only kid who hates writing IEW papers, and that you're a fail. Like, he wants to isolate you, and you are not alone. First and foremost, okay, God has called you into this role, and He does not ask you to walk that alone. He is with you every step of the way. So remember, Christ is just the vine, the branches. I'm not a preacher, but yes, stay connected to Him. Remember your role through Him. And then also, I'm going to talk about how we can encourage you. Just building this community is super important because it just will remind you that you're not crazy. That's the sort of why, what we do. And then next slide. So since that kind of falls under the expectations falls under this, I want to go into some just little specifics, and then I'll hit the other 2 points of my what do you call it? Was it triple, tripod, triad? Triad, that was what I was looking for. Okay, so just the nitty gritty, tripod, the nitty gritty, your home days, okay? So home days are going to be Mondays and Fridays, and occasionally snow days, or very rarely like a parent-teacher conference day, or is that a home day too? So occasionally you'll have some non-Mondays and Fridays, but primarily Mondays and Fridays. So on those days, elementary teachers, and yes, even sixth grade parents, you are a co-teacher. Therefore, we are asking you and expecting you to have a direct teaching role. Students are not independent learners. Most students. are not independent learners, okay? Some of your kids might be there in the upper elementary. They might be rocking it by 5th grade. Some, you still have to sharpen their pencil for them, right? Because they just will not do it on their own. So you are the best gauge of where they are, but really they're just not independent learners. They're not going to just get up and print out their own web and get it done and say, Mom, my backpack's packed, I'm ready for the next day. It's just not going to happen. I'm sorry. So you have a direct teaching role, and that looks different across the grades and even within your own personalities of kids. It just looks different. But know that the worst thing I can hear parents say, and I've said it, is to feel like you're a manager of RenWeb. Like, where you print it out and like, this is what you have to do, and let me know when you've done it. I've done that. I've said, just check it off the list, please. I can't do this. But we don't want that. We want you to step into this and to enjoy it and embrace it. And I know that's a big ask, but so teaching, your classroom teachers will be working with you, will be outlining what the expectation is, and we're going to do a better job of giving you the tools in doing that. So another way, another thing that's super important, the more independence your kids get, is to grade. This is honestly probably more for 6th graders, but all teachers, all of the classroom teachers, usually if you don't have a direct teaching role for that lesson, they'll ask you to grade it at home. And the purpose of that is not because we don't like to grade, which is true. I hate grading, but it is because kids need that immediate feedback. If they do something wrong on Friday and they don't hear about it or see it until Tuesday, they've already learned how to do it the wrong way. And it's already ingrained in their mind. And then teachers have to spend Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday undoing that brain pathway. We don't want that. They need that immediate feedback. So go over their work with them, not to make them feel bad. And I don't know, my youngest hates it when I point out something that's wrong, because he feels like I'm judging his heart or something. And I have to just say, no, buddy, this is just feedback. This is just feedback. So I try to just grade it with as little commentary as possible and let him ask me for what help he needs. But that's the point to check for understanding for you as a parent. Also, you are their one-on-one, right? You have the ability to differentiate in a way that we in the classroom can't always do. And so we need you to be engaged so that you can provide feedback for the classroom teachers, or just step in man, he is just not understanding long division. I need to do some work, and I'm going to communicate that to the classroom teacher, because you're going to see that way better than the classroom teacher. So really help the classroom teachers and be that personal tutor for your kid, and take that opportunity to really dive in where your student needs it, because so many kids don't have that, right? They don't have personal tutors, and you guys are their personal tutors. So that's just kind of a really big, broad overview of Mondays and Fridays. Your classroom teachers will go over more, and when we do the breakouts, you'll get more of an idea of what the curriculums look like, what the day-to-day looks like, RenWeb, all that stuff is coming down the pipeline. So just also, I cannot tell you, another huge responsibility that you have is just communication. Okay, this partnership cannot exist and survive without communication between you and your classroom teacher, or you and the school. So check RenWeb. I recommend checking it daily, because that will let you know, hey, this is what they did in class Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. This is where I'm picking up on Friday and Monday. You don't have to go through all the lessons, but at least be tracking. And then I recommend printing it on Mondays and Fridays, print it out, because it's just too hard if you're trying to scroll through it on your phone and you got multiple kids, and And if you print it, if you're like me, I like to put little boxes by and then check it off. It feels so good when you get that done. I just love it. So I recommend printing it, and Jake's going to walk you through how to do all that stuff. Read and respond to emails, newsletters, etc.
Yes.
I cannot tell you how much work it makes for teachers and administrators when parents are just not reading the communication we put out. And I get it on the parent end. I get the inbox, and you're like, I can't do it. I cannot open that email. I've got 50 of them. I have multiple kids. Some of you have kids at different schools, so you're getting the onslaught of communication. You have work emails, you have church emails, you have neighborhood emails. Like, we are overloaded with communication. I get it, okay? Create a folder on your email, whatever you have to do. Shove them in there so you can go back if you don't have time. I have folders in my inbox for each of my kids even, so that I can remember and sort them. But please, 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 you have to read the emails. You have to. You have to read the newsletters. It's not optional, okay? And then respond, like your teachers want to hear from you. So if it looks like something that requires a response, do that. Even if it doesn't, sometimes, this is just for me, if a parent just says, hey, thank you so much, got your email, have a great week, it's more helpful than feeling like you're speaking into a void all the time. So you do not have to email your teachers back all the time, but just from time to time, it helps, and it builds that partnership. The more you communicate, the more of a relationship you build together.
Can I just say, I'm just going to
interject.
We all know what it feels like to be encouraged. We all know what it feels like to receive an email that's like, thanks so much for loving on our kids. So just know that even a response that takes you 5 seconds can go a long way to encouraging our teachers who really put in an abundant amount of hours. And so when they send their emails, that's not without a lot of thought, a lot of prayer, a lot of sending it to me looking at it. Is this okay? Even the welcome letters you're going to be receiving, the syllabi, all that's been looked over, prayed over, edited, revised. Acknowledgement of that goes a long way for encouragement. So I'm just saying that on behalf of our staff.
Okay, and then attend parent-teacher conferences in the fall. I believe those are October 5th.
Maybe-ish.
Okay, we'll have a firm date. It's a Tuesday, I believe. Anyways, I don't need to go into specifics, but you will have a time set aside. It's really important. That's about, it's kind of end of first quarter. That'll be your first real one-on-one connection, in-person connection point with your classroom teacher. So it's really important that you set aside that time and that you dialogue with your teacher well at that point. And again, this is a partnership. So you need to come saying, hey, I'm failing at home. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't get this curriculum. Please help me. Please do not let the whole semester go by being frustrated. It's just, I've seen that happen, and it's devastating to me. Communicate to your teacher early and often when you don't understand or when you're feeling frustrated. We want to know that as teachers. Okay, I know I got to pick this up, so I'm gonna jet. Next slide is just talking about how we can equip you. So the goal of equipping you is that we want to provide you with the tools required to meet these expectations that we have for you. So how do we do that, okay? Well, there's 3 ways that you can be equipped, okay? So we want you to connect with resources, we want you to connect with the classroom teachers, and we want you to connect with other parents. So just generally, again, RenWeb is our primary source of communication and communicating the assignments, the lessons, all that stuff. So Jake is going to talk in the next slide about what that is. Some of you are like, what is RenWeb? Others of you know RenWeb, and you're like, I hate RenWeb. That's a bad word in our house. But anyways, it's a really helpful tool. So I just encourage you, like, read RedWeb. Please, please, please do not print it out and hand it to your kid and then hope for the best. Because teachers will put notes in there for parents, right? There will be instructions for you. There will be reminders of, hey, we're having a field trip, don't forget, or we're doing show and tell, don't forget. So please, 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 please read RedWeb. That's where your lessons and assignments will be, and your instructions to you as a co-teacher. And then also we have the website and like the school website, which is a wealth of information. I think a lot of that is in RedWeb now too. I'm not quite sure what the new platform looks like, but and then we use a Google Class. Well, I have created a Google Classroom page, which I need to. I will get that information how you can get connected to it. But basically, this is just a place where I've stored helpful websites, resources, webinars on the curriculum, videos, stuff like that that's general co-teaching resources. I've put all in one place on a USCO co-teacher Google Classroom page. And I will make sure that I get that info, how you can log into that. It's basically just a code that you plug in through Google Classroom, and then you're connected to it, and you can just pull it up like a website, essentially, and access those resources. So I'm sorry I didn't, oh, it's on there, isn't it? Yes, it's on there, on this sheet. That is how you can connect. Oh, see, I did it. And then just, again, some books. Again, this is one of my favorite books. It's not a homeschooling book, but this is my why, right? This is my why. I read it every year, and I just need to be reminded of what I'm doing as a parent, why I'm here. And then another one that's just good is Teaching from Rest by Sarah Mackenzie. I just found I did not have a lot of peace my first 2 years, and I really needed to figure out what peace looks like. It doesn't look like, how we think it does, but I do believe it's possible to teach from peace and to parent from peace. And so that was a good book for me. So that's another one I recommend. And then I've also listed just some different learning websites and helpful blogs. Whatever you can do to equip yourself is just how I've grown in this role over the year. I don't read a ton. I hate blogs, honestly. It's like my least favorite thing in the world. But some of these homeschooling moms have put out some super helpful resources, and a lot of them are free. So if you're doing a math lesson and you're like, wow, my kiddo is not loving this, I don't know, these fractions. He's not getting it, he's not loving it. Go on some of these websites, Google it, like Pinterest, all of these places have so many resources, and they're often free, and they're just tricks of the trade to help you as a co-teacher implement these lessons in a fun way, right? You do not have to follow the Abeka lesson, right? Where you do this and say this and read this and practice this. You may, that's fantastic. If that's your jam and it works for you, do it. But if you can take it and own it and make it your own and make it fun for you and make it fun for your kid, power to you. So then connecting with classroom teachers, I talked about that already. Again, I'll just highlight that the partnership requires good communication. So do that. And then connecting with other parents. So reach out to veteran parents. Figure out who they are. Your homeroom mom, which Amy is going to talk about, should be your first point of contact for this. But the best thing I did when I was stepping into this role was learn from other moms, right? I went over and I said, I've never done a homeschool day. What does this even look like? And I did the first homeschool day with her. And I just said, show me, like, what? How do you even make this work with 3 kids and one who's still in diapers? I just didn't know how to do it. And so please reach out to veteran parents. Reach out to me. I'm a veteran parent, and I love this. Like I said, my heart beats faster. So I welcome anybody. Come to my house, see the mess, have pancakes with us in our pajamas on Friday at 10. Because we do not start at 8 like everybody thinks everybody else does. We're like a 10:30 kind of family. Okay, swap children in your grade when you can. That is my favorite trick of the trade. So I may say, Liza, hey, we'd love to have Clark this Friday. Would he like to come do school with us? And then she will hopefully and probably return the favor for me the next week, right? Like, or Amy, I swap with Amy all the time. It just, even when you have a kid over, it's helpful. They do their work well together. They're motivated to play, and so they do it. So and then it builds their friendships too, right? So get to know each other and reach out to other parents and swap kids when you can. It's not like relinquishing your control or anything. It's a good thing. We had a parent prayer group, Jen. Will we? Okay, parent prayer group. That is where I first came to know and fall in love with this school. It is every other Thursday. There was a parent prayer group that met first thing in the morning, and we just prayed. We didn't talk, we didn't share, we just prayed. And that was when I fell in love with the school, because God just grew my love for the school through that. And then community events, like when we have them, if you can, attend them. It's good to build our community and build each other up. And then last but not least, just to encourage you, so these are kind of my 3 bullet points: be patient, be prepared, and be present. So what I really want to hit on is, again, remember that big picture, and remember that you're not, that God is there for you. So be patient with yourself. Please do not have this expectation on yourself that every day is going to look magical, and my stuff is all organized, and my kids are going to love me, and my kids are going to love writing, and it's going to be this it's not. It's going to be messy, and it's going to look different for everyone, and that is totally okay. So I'm not saying lower your expectations. I'm just saying have grace with yourself, because God has so much grace for us. So yes. Okay, I do have under that though just some helpful tips on this handout. So take breaks. That's just, seriously, don't try to plow through. I've done that and it just doesn't go well. So take breaks. Get outside if you can. Like, kids love to do outside. Jump on the trampoline and have them tell you their math facts. Whatever you can do. Go have a little recess break. Get outside if you can. It increases their productivity and yours. Change it up. Sometimes if you want to go to the library, we have done school in weird places just because we needed a change of scenery, and it works. Older kids can help younger ones. So those of you with multiples, I get it. You use your older kids. Say, Ava, can you please do the spelling words with Quinn right now, and just read them to them. Use your older kids. They actually like that. Don't expect, this is just a little one I put in there, don't expect boys to learn like girls. So if you have boys, okay, if you have girls, I had my girls first and then I had my boy. And I was like, why doesn't he want to do this worksheet? My girls love worksheets. Like, they love to get out the worksheets and do that and love it. Quinn hates worksheets. He hates them. So I just learned, like, he's a boy, right? So I can't expect Quinn to learn like Charlotte and Ava. And once I figured that out and realized what his learning style is, it's just been a lot easier. So I will also say that it doesn't even necessarily have to be a gender thing. Sometimes kids just have different learning styles. So know that. And then don't try to be a super mom or super dad. Really, you're not, and it will just make you frustrated. And then know that you have freedom within limits as the co-teacher. So don't be afraid to own it and to say, hey, this is not really where my kid is right now. I need to go here, and just communicate that to your co-teacher. So then be prepared. I've put a lot of tips which you can read through. Those are just, find what works for you. Being organized is kind of critical and helpful, but I understand that organization can look different for everybody. So just find a system that works for you. You can read through those tips. Print out RinWeb the night before if you can, just so you're ready. And you're not trying to do that and make the breakfast and all that stuff. Kind of gather supplies if you can, like look ahead of time and see, are there any websites you need to pull up, or flashcards they need to have. Just kind of be ready, and then be creative. And then the last one, which is super important, is just to be present. So like, just again, reminding yourself of the why, starting out, just praying together as a family. If you can have your quiet time first, that's super important. Big one. Limit your day's activities. I've been there where I'm like, oh yeah, we can squeeze in that orthodontist appointment, and we can, meet grandma for lunch, and I can do these 500 loads of laundry. Nope, I can't. I can barely empty the dishwasher on a homeschool day. So just don't try. Just know that. Know that your Monday and Friday, that's your day to be present with your kids. And as much as you can, or if you work and it has to be a Saturday, that's fine. Whatever your homeschool day or time is, just really try to be present during that time. Don't try to be answering emails. It just makes you frustrated, and it makes them frustrated. And then, sorry, Jake, I'm almost done, I know. Another just little trick I have learned is just, if you have multiples, spend time with the youngest first. It just kind of fills their bucket, right? And once they have a full bucket, they're a little more able to have that independent time. So, trick of the trade. And then, let's see. Just expect to be teaching and helping most of the time. And again, that looks different across the grades, but that is the gist of it. So, that is, I could spend hours up here. Have I hit all the points, Jen, that you would like me to hit? Are there any questions just generally? Again, I don't have a specific role. I just get really jazzed about this stuff. So are there any questions, concerns? Okay, please reach out to me. You'll see me around. I love co-teachers. I love you, and I love this role. And so nothing would give me more joy than to sit down with you, get to know you, and walk you through it and help you, or just hear how your experience is going. So I will turn it over to Jake. He's going to talk about the ever-exciting RenWeb, our favorite word in our house. And yes, enjoy.
Yeah. All right. So the mythical creature RenWeb. We've been using that word a lot. What is it for us new families? RenWeb is the technological platform that we, as teachers and staff, use to communicate with the co-teachers, and vice versa. So if you're going, what are we doing on Monday? You are not left alone. I know Carrie kind of drops, I want to say some bombs, but some serious things. You're like, whoa, I can't even unload the dishwasher. I'm having to homeschool my kids. Yes, but you're not doing it alone. So the difference between homeschooling, you're the whole pilot. You have no co-pilot. It's just you, mom or dad, and you're flying that plane, and I hope you can take off and land it on your own. Well, we're here with you, piloting the plane. We're giving you the instructors, manual, and everything. And so that's what's happening on Mondays and Fridays. And so, a few key points. If you do not know how to log into RenWeb, that's, you didn't even get off the tarmac. So we need to talk really quickly, and we're going to hand out, email a lot of these details. I could show you all the little fun jazz things you can do on RenWeb, but there's a tutorial and a handout that'll say this is how you log in, this is how you create logins, this is how you ask for help. It really breaks our heart when we get into a month into school and we have parents say, I can't even get into RenWeb for the last month. It's okay, we'll get through this. That's when you talk to mission control or air traffic control, say, I am lost. Please hit us up. We will quickly, as best as we can, help you. That is our first goal, is to make sure that you can get onto RenWeb. You can't get onto RenWeb, it goes really slowly. So ask. So what does RenWeb do? This is the way that we're able to communicate, whether it be an email back and forth. This is how we communicate lesson plans. So Mondays and Fridays, and also Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You want to know what's going on in your classroom, what's going on with your kids. Susie's absent. What in the world has Susie missed? It's all on there. So maybe not a super detailed, at 5:15 they did this. Or not at school at 5:15, but at 10:15 they did this, and then this, and then this. It's an overview of the chapters, the lesson plans, the activities that they did that day. So that's on Mondays and Fridays. They're going to give you Mom, Dad, this is what you need to do at home, and here are all the activities. On Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, here's a general overview of what we did in class. If Susie's absent, communicate with the teacher. Hey, she was absent. What do we need to do at home? Bring her back up to speed, or vice versa, and make sure what does she need to do in class to catch her back up. And then the next big piece is grades. I think in a lot of times in public schools and things like that, you kind of get this ever-looming grade report, and then the report card, and you get that in, and you go, that's where my kid's at? Well, we don't want to do that. So we're constantly updating RenWeb. Probably every week you're going to be able to see live grades. And so you can just log in and go, oh, my kid has this grade, my kid has that grade. And it's just a barometer. It has nothing to do with them being a good student, bad student. Well, we don't like to use those terms. It is really just a show of where are they at in the learning scale. And then always contact your teacher and say, hey, so I saw that she didn't do too well on that last activity or on that last quiz. Quizzes and figure assessments come in later grades. What's going on? Is it things that we can work on at home to help bolster that? So again, that communication piece. And as teachers, we try as best as we can to say, hey, this is they did really well, and maybe she didn't do as well. And that's something that Jen's really encouraging our teachers. When you start to see a kid that has trends and patterns, we want to start dialogue. And that's where, the co-teachers will dialogue with the teacher, and then if we really need to, we'll talk as an administrator and just saying, hey, this is what we're seeing, how can we really help? Maybe it's external sources, because these barometers, these grades, and then in-class performance, we're starting to see some changes. So RenWeb's showing you, the parents, everything that we're seeing as the instructors. Again, it's that co-teacher. We don't want to have all the pieces of the puzzle and you're going, I have no idea where my kid's at. We want to be in community, we want to be in a relationship. So Monday, Friday homework, and again, we're going to share a video, and forgive me if it's silly, of me walking you through all the things that RenWeb can do, and how to navigate that. I created my own daughter's RenWeb, and I put her in classes. It was super fun. My wife loves it. She's like, it's so fun to see her daughter. So you go to the next slide. And so these are just some helpful tips at home days. Again, I love what everybody keeps saying. Read it. Get on RenWeb daily. And I know that there's apps. There's still the app, right? There's no longer an app for the staff. I think there's an app for the parents. They try to make it really convenient for you, as best as a technological app can be. But read the plans and read them carefully. I think sometimes as parents, I'm going to say us because I'm really quickly approaching that, we just breeze through it and we just say, okay, yeah, do math problems 5 through 8. But I said, oh, sorry, Kenzie. So read it carefully. And if you ever have a question, ask the room mom, ask other parents, ask the teacher, and just send them a quick, hey, what's going on? Send them an email. I love what Carrie said, print off the assignments. Print off the daily assignment, print off weeks if you want, whatever floats your boat, and then check it off and say, yes, we did it, mark it. Not only did we do it, it went in the folder, it went in the backpack. That is a win. And then they can never say, I don't know where it is. No, I know, I went in the backpack. It should be in the school.
I know that Candy Tempest specifically in 3rd grade requires you to actually sign the RenWeb printed out sheet and send it back. Some of your teachers are going to require that. So it's not just for your own documentation at home, it's going to be for the accountability, and that's just an additional piece of communication going back and forth. So some teachers might choose, we are going to make that recommendation to the teachers, and believe it or not, there are a lot of parents that don't actually do the at-home school days. And again, that's truancy, right? We are saying that we are a 5-day-a-week school. We handle 3 days, you handle 2 days. And so when that work's not getting done, then we are responsible to communicate to you that your child is truant, because we are also responsible to have students in class a certain amount of days every single year. So some of the elementary school teachers are going to require, and I know Candy for sure is one of them, that you are going to have to print that out, you are going to have to sign it and say, yes, we've ensured that all things are being completed. So.
Good. And on that note, if you begin to see my kid's missing homework, us as teachers, if let's say Susie turns in her homework, and boy, I'm not seeing it in RenWeb. We typically say we have a couple days as teachers to turn it into RenWeb. So it's not going to be within that hour, or within that day. It could be 3 days, and it could be up to a week for a bigger project. And please ask, hey, why isn't that in there, Jake? I'm not seeing that homework that you said. I'm really sorry. Life happens, and we know that happens for you guys, and you know that happens for us. And even though our students don't know that, life happens. And so they think we're robots, we're teachers, we don't have a life. No, we do, and so we want a dialogue. And that's a big part of RenWeb, of this relationship. And so Debbie's saying, hey, Allie's missing this. This happened. Okay, cool, let's dialogue. Let's dialogue beforehand, and then that's much easier to reconcile grades and just what's going on, and we want to be there. But when there's no communication, that's when we begin to fill in the blocks with, well, Jake's just a bad teacher. Oh no, sorry, Jake's daughter just was doing this, blah, 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 blah. So dialogue is huge, especially with grades and homework. We don't want anybody to be left in the dark. Again, and last part is, RenWeb is a great piece for you all to connect on and having the tutorial. There's the whole class registry and directory. So if you say, boy, I really want to get in contact with Debbie Harris, and maybe, where do they live? I heard she lives in, I don't know, Falcon, I don't know. Maybe we can carpool. Dialogue there. It's an awesome place to be. If you want to opt out to be in that, just let us know, or you want to opt in. I don't think it's a little bit confusing on how that works, but yeah, it's in the enrollment. So if you're not, just let us know. And again, we're going to send out a whole tutorial on how to access RenWeb. First step, if you cannot get into it, please let us know. Any significant questions on RenWeb? And I'm going to release this for a short break. Fantastic. Okay, well, there will be questions at some point in the semester. Please hit us up with them. So thank you. All right, we have, how long of a break?
Like 10 to 15 minutes, okay? Make sure y'all enroll in RenWeb long before the first day of school.
Yep. Good. All right.
If you've got your forms signed, you can hand them back in to me. We're going to have a drawing. Once you hand, but you can't be registered for the drawing unless you hand me in your forms.
Oh, so Cindy's yesterday. We're Wait, what?
Down to 5th grade, so, and then I've been math.
It's so straight.
Oh, I know.
So, how are you?
Good. I've been telling you, I'm like a deer in the headlights. So if I look scared, or I don't listen. I mean, I do know what I'm doing. It's, you know, it's the anticipation of what's coming. And I'll be fine when it gets started. Getting there.
Don't hesitate to ask lots of questions. Get lots of help. Okay.
I've been asking
Good.
for everything.
Just keep that up and don't feel bad. And I'm here, you know.
So, well, when I told Susan too, I said, you're across the hall from me, so if I look like I'm losing it, come help me.
Yeah, I understand.
Yes.
I do. They're actually, Amy, can you grab her pen?
Teacher thing.
Yes, I do.
Okay. All right. References on there.
right here to me.
There's 5 pages.
Yes. Thank you so much. And what are your kids' names? I've seen
Lily.
Lily. And she's okay.
She'll be in kindergarten.
I didn't know how to pronounce the last name.
Oh yeah. There's a little like accent.
Okay. Miss the accent.
Yeah.
So hey.
Yeah.
I am Christy. So good to meet you. Yep. We are rocking and rolling over there in elementary school. It's gonna be a good year. Well, last year was my first year to work here.
Okay.
My daughter came the year before that. 3 years already.
So is your daughter in?
She tried.
Oh, she's just.
Yeah, so I've got more positions.
Do other kids? Okay.
Yeah, she was my last. I homeschooled up until Are you looking for me? Thank you. Yeah, great. We're also, Amy's going to talk about some other ways to connect. Perfect. Okay. So,
Yes, we are. Are you new this year? Second year.
little Owen.
Okay.
And where do you live?
Oh yeah, I have it here. At the start,
So for preschool.
between 2-year-olds as well. Yeah, it's a lot of time in the
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
It's right. It's up in napkins there. I can go in and get. She's got bringing like put stuff on our plates or. Well, maybe the summer plates. Someone mentioned it.
Oh, all right. That would be helpful. Let me run in.
But I can go grab it for you on.
So in the elementary, we've rearranged in there. You know what?
In the office.
I'm just gonna run and grab
Are
it.
you sure?
All right. Can I hand it over to you? I'm gonna run and grab some napkins.
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
I mean, you know, I don't know. Oh, don't worry about it. I can like catch up. You're also, no, I know. I just, I mean, ish. I still have to like it's all very weeks, and so I went on to YouTube video, watched PC videos a lot of that. So I was able to learn my OET stuff like a couple of days ago.
Parent teacher, what's the fellowship? So I don't know exactly what you can do for that, but
It is actually, she told me that she directed you to me. It's actually Shayla who is running the PT, and I was like, okay. And then me just to make sure that I was doing everything and stuff. So I was not gonna. But Shayla
But we're gonna things.
what he was going to talk about, things that like first
was just Debbie Harrison showing
which one I heard we haven't ever done great, but then last year was non-existent.
Okay.
So now we're in a much better spot.
Okay, great.
But I was really excited.
Oh, there we go. Don't look like oh, there we go. I'm like, wait a second, maybe I'll just get that. So I'm pretty sure that I do this. Lily is going to do this. So, okay, yeah. So, then I got 3 years. So I'll move on. It's not working. And I figured that we would get that. But let me try it because I wasn't interested in getting my lead subject. Because I save it and keep it, you know, on my passwords and stuff, and it wouldn't let me do that. So, okay, I could be the day, or I can't.
Yeah, that's fine.
So,
Just give them a full
that's what I thought maybe she did. I usually but is there a way that I can be able to see? But I'm like,
you don't need that later shape, but also where I record them. They come
I'll be up on campus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then how important I'll be back on campus.
He's good. Having a good summer?
So my friend was fine.
And then we're getting
actually not sure how the mom's going to get that. She's in the But anyways, I'll give him all the paperwork.
Yes. So, okay. So I'll just, because we've got a meeting on Monday. Right. So is that okay if I speak it? Good. Oh, okay. Yeah. I just feel like.
is it time to start? No problem. Thank you so much. I haven't counted to see how many folders, and I kind of figured the afternoon would be a little bit slow. Once you get up at 8 o'clock and right. So we'll see at the end of the day. I know that I don't think I can do anything before. It's time. Everybody wants to start finding their seats. Start with the next part. Yeah.
Hey, my friend, I was told that I'm supposed to get you, that we're supposed to get started. told me, go tell them that we have to get started. So here I am. So for those of you that I don't know, I'm Shayla Hintz, and I'm usually back in the recesses of the office over here doing Red Web kind of things and that kind of thing. But I am super excited. My family has been here for 7 years. We just graduated our youngest last year, so, oh my word, it comes quickly. But it's such a blessing to be here. But something that has been on our heart to start for a very long time is a parent-teacher, we're calling it fellowship, parent-teacher fellowship. So, yay, this year we get to get it started. So, what this would be is not another place for you to feel like you have to be involved, because, you know, really the heart is to just create a structure for us to be able to connect with one another and for us to support each other as we're doing the things that God has called us to do. So we as parents want to support the teachers, and the teachers want to support us, and we want to support each other as parents, and staff wants to support you. You know, but we just want this to be a very healthy community that is able and knows how to gather us together if that's what's needed, or support each other if that's what's needed. You know, personal needs, people are in the hospital, you know, those kinds of things. We want to take care of each other. So, so that's what this is about. So we're going to focus, the ultimate goal is to have a lot, you know, really for us to function like, I read one thing from one school, they described it as us being, this organization and their school being like the hub for a small town. So ultimately, that's what we'd like for it to be. But you know, where everybody is able to do the things and connect with the people that they want to. So there are 3 areas that we are going to start out with this year. We're going to focus on care, connect, and celebrate. So care would be the people who are interested in helping take care of practical needs. And those could range anywhere from teacher care with our room mom, room or grade mom, depending on what ages we're talking about. And Amy Bell is going to talk more about that, because we need to get that up and going pronto. And then, or things like a prayer team, or practical care for people who, you know, their mom just had a baby and they just need some food taken to them, you know, kind of a thing. So, you know, on-campus volunteers, or like our TLC days that we've done this summer already, just campus care. So just taking care of practically one another. So that's the hope, that we can build some structure around that, maybe have some team leaders. One of the things that we really want to get started is a prayer team, where if somebody has prayer needs, they can submit it to the school and have a designated group of people to pray for it, or we can disseminate the information so that the community at large can pray for it. So, so very excited to get this going. The second way we want to build structure or area is connect. So just to create opportunities for us to connect. And you know, those can be things like, I think Amy talked about, there's going to be a Muffins for Moms once a month event. You know, so come have a muffin, enjoy chatting together, get, you know, find out, oh, you're the mom of the kid in my class, my kid's class, you know, kind of thing. So, or prayer groups, or we would love to start having like welcome events for new families and so on. So just lots of ideas, but we just want to see what kind of interest you all might have in getting involved. So then the third area is celebrate. so it's fun to get together and celebrate the season, whether that's the fall or graduation or prom or, you know, kicking school off or celebrate our teachers or, you know, there's all kinds of numbers of things. So we would like to have, for this year, we don't want to bombard everybody and, you know, make you feel like we're shooting fire hoses at you or anything like that, but we'd love to have one event in the fall and one in the spring kind of a thing. And so, you know, but again, we'll see what kind of interest we have in that. So really, we just wanted to put this out here to let you know about it and just invite you to share things that bring you joy. So if helping to clean baseboards does not bring you joy, you know, plan a party or bring cookies for the party or, you know, whatever it is. But we just want to make a structure where we can share the things that we enjoy together. So, and obviously this is the very beginning, so we have lots of room to grow and need help actually getting that structure built. So if any of you are interested in being part of kind of a leadership structure for it, I'd love to hear that from you as well. And I'm going to be sending out a kind of a sign up form for you to just give me your name if you do that and you're not committing anything yet. It's more just I have an interest in being a part, and it'll be kind of divided into 3 areas. And so that'll be coming out in the next week or so. And then of course that our back to school night will have actually some hard copy sign up forms if that's more your style. So thanks so much. And does anybody have any questions about that? And obviously they all have lots of questions because they were just getting started. So.
Is baseboard cleaning an option?
It is.
Yes.
Yes.
Including my house.
So yeah, we definitely need that, and sometimes it's not so much the joy in the act, but the joy in the finished product, right? So, okay, well thank you for letting me share, and I think Amy Bell's going to come and talk to us about the room mom. Thanks.
So funny story about baseboards. I never knew you were supposed to clean them until I went to sell my first house. And the realtor told me I had to clean my baseboards, and I just looked at them like they were crazy. I'm like, you're supposed to clean those? Like, I had no idea. And when they were cleaned, I could not believe how white they were again. So, and I admit I still don't clean them, so there's that. Hi, so I'm Amy Bell. And I am so excited this year because we're going to start the Room Mom program here, which the school hasn't utilized, at least, I don't know, in the recent years. So yes, we're very excited. So most of you know what a Room Mom is and are familiar with that. I come from a university model school also, and the Room Mom program is absolutely essential, especially for this type of school. Our teachers just need all the support they can get, and having a room mom as a liaison kind of between the teacher and the other moms and dads it's just really helpful to everybody. So, sorry, I'm not used to talking in front of people, so I apologize. So yes, that's what we want to do this year. We want to support and love our teachers more, and room moms will have a big part of that. So, and really, in creating this room mom for this school, we've tried to keep it very simple, where we just want the room mom to be able to help the teacher prepare for a couple of celebrations a year, like Christmas and Valentine's Day, and also to be a communicator for them. So if the teacher says, you know what, I really need help tomorrow afternoon at 2 in my classroom. You can go ahead and you can communicate that need with the class, and somebody can sign up for that. So the room mom position is not that you have to sign up for everything, for every party and every beck and call of the teacher, but that you can communicate these needs to all the others and facilitate that so that they're not having to do all that extra peripheral work. So Liza Baker here has been so kind, and she's been helping me out, and she is also very passionate about getting this program up and running so that our teachers can just reap all those benefits right away, and our families can too. And so she's going to be helping me, and she's going to talk about the communication aspect of Room Mom.
Thanks, Amy. Yeah, so Carrie did such a great job about, kind of talking about what the home days look like from the co-teacher, the parent perspective. And I think that one way that we can, again, utilize just help and that sense of community and not feeling like you're alone is connecting with your child's actual class, the moms or the parents of your child's actual class. So that's one way, and being a room mom is in a sense helping to kind of be the point person. And Amy said it well, it's not to do it all. It's just to facilitate and help organize other moms because I feel like when it's time to sign up for room mom, I'm always like, don't make eye contact. We all feel that way, right? Because we don't want to have to do it all. Well, really what it is if you're gifted with organization, or even if you just feel a passion to be that liaison, then really it is just kind of organizing and communicating. So one way to do that we have found that's really helpful is an app called GroupMe. And I know that it's like one more app, one more thing, but the GroupMe app really is a very easy and effective way to it's not a text thread where you're going to get a zillion threads of people liking the text that's this long. That just fills up your text thread. GroupMe is just I don't know if you're familiar with it. Just quickly, hands up if you even know GroupMe or if you have the app. Okay, that's interesting because I think in different parts of, I don't know, I come from Texas and everyone used GroupMe. So it's maybe a learning curve, but it really is an easy app to do group communications without getting your text pinging all the time, or email, which isn't always that accessible. So if you do want to be a group mom, I think we're going to ask you to set up the GroupMe, and we'll provide you with the different numbers. What you do is you do have to download the app, and then the people in the classroom will download the app, and then you can name your group, and then it's very self-explanatory. It's very easy, and the room mom can help with that. But one of the main reasons for using GroupMe and the communication, I know sometimes you're sitting down to lesson plans, you start in on it, and then you think, oh, this is a weird question, and I always think to myself, and then it's like all of a sudden the day comes to a screeching halt because you don't really know how to move forward from this weird question that you don't know the answer to and your kid doesn't know the answer to. Sometimes it's easy to hop on GroupMe and say, hey, did anyone else understand that question, or that maybe that math problem or something, and another mom can say, well, I see it as this. Oh, of course, that makes total sense. So it's just a resource to really help with little questions that you can easily just hop on and ask and see if other people have a better understanding of it, which in my case, others definitely have better understanding of different things. So that's helpful. I think it's going to be up to the teacher on if, and correct me if I'm wrong, if she's going to be in on the GroupMe or not. It's probably up to the individual teacher. Sometimes it helps because the teacher can just chime in and say, oh, this is what I meant by this, or it helps if you want to use this resource or something. So, but also know that, you know, teachers may be doing their own home days. So if they are not on GroupMe, then the room mom would probably say, hey, let me shoot a quick email to the teacher, and I'll just ask, and then I'll get back with you guys. So it's just kind of a point without the teacher then getting inundated with emails of the same question. So it's just a tool that I think will be really helpful. And also, let's see. So yes, so another point of signing up for Room Mom, like is this a slide? Yes, so you will be that point of contact. So whether it's through GroupMe or whether it's through emailing the teacher separately, you'll kind of be that point person. And then, yeah, so that we've just listed the room mom, the classroom teacher doesn't necessarily know the answer, then we'll ask Christy, and I'll kind of go in that order. Are there any questions specifically about either the app or the role as room mom? One other thing that is great for the GroupMe as well is you may just want to say, hey, who's on a Friday afternoon, who's finished and wants to meet at the park? You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be, you know, official, you know, homework assignment, curriculum questions. It can just be, hey, moms, who wants to, you know, get together for margaritas? I don't know if that's a school-sponsored activity or, but anyway, so it's just a great tool to use for just that. So you'll probably, if you have more than one kid, you will have more than one classroom group, I guess, with the different teachers. So, anything I forgot?
Yeah, I just wanted to add into that. The more you use this GroupMe app, the more you're going to build friendships with the other moms, and the more you build those friendships, because your kids, that's the beauty of a small school. Your kids are going to be together every single year. And your kid is going to grow with those kids, and you as a mom are going to grow with the other moms. So next thing you know, you're all best friends, all of you. The moms that, my kids were in a university model in Texas for 6 years, all those moms are my best friends. We know each other's children inside and out, we know their struggles, and that's the other thing you can get on there and do is you can get on there and complain about your kid. And there was a lot of that going on, you know. But, you know, we would all laugh and we would get through it together. And then when we meet up at Christmas parties and Valentine's Day parties, we're actually excited to do that because we get to see our other mom friends. And the longer that goes on for, the more you don't even really need a designated room mom, because now you have a whole room full of room moms, you know? And you know what everybody does. And in our class back in Texas, I knew who baked the cake, right? There was one cake baker, you know, and she made incredible cakes and cupcakes, custom stuff, you know. You knew who the Pinterest mom was. You knew who the game mom was. You didn't even need to really send out sign-ups anymore because you knew who was going to sign up for what because you all know each other so well. You have built that community, you have built those friendships, and you love one another and you love each other's kids. So that is the beauty of Room Mom, and if you sign up this year, you get to kickstart all of that. And everybody will always remember you for doing that. So I hope that we get a lot of involvement, but I'll be haunting you until somebody signs up. In the meantime, when we're done here, I do have some sign-up sheets in the back. If anybody's interested in becoming a room mom, you can fill that out. Thank you.
All right, before we dismiss you, I just want to ask any, if you guys have any questions that was discussed, clarification, wonderings. Yeah?
So I have some extracurricular questions.
Sure.
First is adventure. I love adventure. I know for the older kids, they get to do trips and things like that. Is that something that we might ever try to do? Obviously, we're not on like a tiny backpacking trip with first graders, but you know, little adventure. And also say that me and my husband would be the first experience to help with something
Yeah, so the adventure program, absolutely, the strengths have always been 6th grade and on, and specifically in high school. And so that is something that we are looking into, specifically 3rd, 4th, and 5th. It's never been a high priority in the past for the school, just because of bandwidth, and truthfully, you know, elementary school children are not necessarily prepared to do some of the things that obviously the secondary adventure program can handle. However, that being said, we have been in talks with interviewing a person currently. So we're hoping that we're going to hear yes, and from there we're hoping to build that adventure program in elementary. What that probably is going to look like is, what are the 10 navigational or 10 essentials that you need to have? Navigation and sunblock and water and nutrition. Maybe we do a day hike and an excursion. It's just something that right now is not in the immediate scope. We've had to prioritize strategically moving into this school year due to just changes and that sort of thing. So I hear you. I totally understand as a mom coming in. When we came in for elementary too, we were really kind of hoping that there was going to be a more developed adventure program for our elementary school. It's not the case currently, but we hear you. And yes, if you want to speak into that, we are open to hearing suggestions from parents and even having parents help. Because that's just another logistical thing. The special teachers in elementary are paid differently, and the expectation is different. And so we would have to reset those expectations, which is different than the high school that are paid for these kind of long-term trips that are taken and stuff. So yeah, I'm happy to talk further about that with you. Yeah?
Maybe just like a group hike, like if they want to go
Yeah.
or like an indoor climbing long day or something like that. Like,
Yeah, something
still
easy.
adventure,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like I said, not 10 to 5.
Yeah, I am happy to discuss that with you. Jake and I would welcome some insight, so.
Okay. And then also, some things like theater. We love playing shows. I bring my kids to every show that's been on. Would that ever be something that the younger kids participate in as well?
Yeah, in the past we actually had a theater, a couple years back, elementary was only a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Tuesday, Thursday program. And Wednesday was an elective day only, and we actually did have a theater section. This is before my time as an administrator. Currently, that is not the plan. It's really, really challenging, and Mrs. Holliday, who did it, it just logistically was just a lot. It was a lot for parents to make sure that rehearsals were met and finding times that were appropriate. So at this very moment, that's not on our radar. Yeah.
One last question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Language.
Yes.
That. Language? Yeah, second language. Yeah.
Well, since I have the platform, the one teacher, the one class I need a teacher for, the one and only class, is Spanish. I am the only person that can teach that class. However, I have zero bandwidth. So I would love just to find a high school Spanish teacher. So if you guys have teachers and we have language, it's such a, I'm just going to be very transparent with you. This is a very unique model. It takes a very specific person to want to invest and teach here. We have limited funds. We're not full-time, we don't offer benefits, and all of that is wonderful for certain types of people, right? And we are grateful for everybody that wants to serve. It's just a huge challenge to find Americans that actually have competency in a different language, and specifically a language that's relevant, i.e. Spanish, or ASL, or even French for that matter. So we just really struggle, honestly, and I'm just being very transparent. We struggle with finding teachers. And so you've seen my text over the summer, right? Looking for, I mean, I've gone down probably 12 different avenues of pursuing a Spanish teacher, and I always end up getting a no. So it's just really hard. And so, if you guys know the Spanish teacher, I would really like one in about
like ASL is
5 days.
also something that the school would be interested in. Because if it wasn't Spanish, it was ASL. Or
I mean, it's just, we had to get rid of our ASL program in secondary. We did offer it for just a wee bit in elementary at one point. We offered Latin. Just things just don't stick. And this is all kind of before my time. This is when I was just a parent. We have a hard time having things stick. And so when we create programs based on an individual versus the overall goal of our school, then when that person leaves, then we're left with this vacuum of not finding a teacher. So we did have Latin, for example, because we had someone who could teach it. Well, then that person left, and then we had all this elementary school Latin curriculum, and it was really hard to find a replacement. So I don't know if that makes sense to you, but like even last year for our ASL program, we had to do something online. I couldn't find an ASL teacher. And so those students suffer because then they had to take an online course because we just couldn't finish that out. But we started ASL because we had a qualified teacher. Then that teacher leaves and it leaves us with sort of a vacuum. So I'm not saying that to make excuses. I'm just saying that that's just kind of our reality. So I'm always happy, my door is always open to explore options. It's just a matter of practicality and finding teachers. And you would think in like Spanish, for example, that we would have a plethora of options, but we don't. Unless one of you hablas español.
I know, just like as a tip, sometimes in the past I have found just like language for kids groups that are in the communities, and if you get a couple of the classmates together and you are able to sign up, it makes it's not an official school thing, but it's a way to build the community. So we can keep an eye out for those and try to communicate those types of opportunities.
And I don't mind that. I think it's more knowing that.
Yeah.
Because then if it is something that's provided during the school,
Sure.
it's something that you don't have to add on top of there.
Sure, that's absolutely right. I am a firm believer of a second language. I mean, I speak Spanish almost fluently, and so I am a firm believer. I speak to my own kids in Spanish. It's just a challenge. So if you guys have any ideas, you know my email address. It's jen@usco.org. Please send them to me. If you are like, yeah, we have some options here. Christy and I, for elementary specifically, the specials, we've evaluated what are the essentials, right? And art and PE right now are the essentials. An adventure, we want to be an essential. We just need to get there. And we're happy to explore other options. It again goes back to finding people that have an expertise and that are willing to do that, and they're not just coming for a specific thing. They're coming to meet an overall need of where we think elementary should be, if that makes sense. So like if you like basket weaving, that's great, but I don't know if we would continue basket weaving if you came to land. So yeah. Any other questions?
Like an adventure teacher wouldn't have to have like teacher qualifications. I mean, could it just be someone who's good at adventure?
Absolutely. It would just need to be, we could have a parent who's like just really, really knows how to go hiking or, set up a tent and, do a campfire kind of thing, make a s'more, on a stove.
Right.
It's just a matter of, we put it out there, hey, if you have an elective, but we just, it's all a matter of who's willing to invest in the school in that way, because everybody has a different gifting and different responsibilities, so, yeah. We don't need someone who's like very tense and calls cut off for elementary.
Just to clarify, on Grinweb, Jacob mentioned, I know that they post grades for second grade, but do they post grades for, other than the quarterly grade reports, do they post grades for?
So, yeah, I want to clarify that. So we're going to reevaluate for 4th and 5th grade for sure, not this year, but for the following year. Right now, our elementary school report cards and any sort of progress report is on a continuum, right? Because especially kindergarten and 1st grade, we want proficiency, and giving a letter grade attached to something is really meaningless for a parent, right? So we want there to be mastery by the end of the school year, because we know developmentally students develop at a different stage. So to say, okay, you're going to get a C first semester in your reading, when we know that you're an emergent reader, and maybe those skills are going to come in a week or two, or a month or two, or whatever. So most elementary school report cards in education right now is a sort of like already not yet sort of measure, right? It's more of a narrative, it's more of a discussion, it's more of a, they don't have mastery, they are moving towards mastery. 4th and 5th grade, we realize that that's probably not going to be enough, specifically for our students that really have the cognitive understanding of like, oh, I didn't do my homework, therefore I have a missing grade and I have a bad grade. We are going to be having teachers put in for 4th and 5th grade specifically. We're going to have them put in some sort of measure that you're missing your assignments, and then you're going to be you'll be getting percentages on your math scores for your tests, and your Shirley English and your papers will be graded. It's just that it's going to be put in by a little bit different. So Jake was speaking more from a secondary perspective, because remember his experience is in secondary. So when he was saying that, he hadn't thought through, so I apologize on our part for miscommunicating that. Elementary is very different, the reporting structure than secondary. Yeah.
So last year was our first year.
Yes.
And they were saying that that system was only because of COVID.
No.
So you don't in elementary school do like A, B, C's. Oh, that's unfortunate. Yeah. Okay.
So I think you're referring to, or what I think our teachers were probably trying to communicate to you, is that we were on a trimester. This year we're going to be on a quarter. Trimester was because we had COVID issues with making sure our parent-teacher conferences were timely, and so our reporting period was sort of extended due to parent-teacher conferences. But yeah. Sorry. No, go ahead.
Oh, we came from a school where it was, grade and iPad. My daughter was always a straight A student. So for her last year, it was really difficult. She's like, I need to know because I want to continue to be a straight A student. That's just how she's structured. Yeah.
I think, so from I'll share kind of our philosophy. From our perspective, because we are requiring, asking, desiring you as a co-teacher, that sort of assessing is sometimes irrelevant. So if I give you an A, if your son gets an A on a paper, then that's taking away the communication piece. So what we want is our teachers to say, your student is highly competent in writing, here's how he can grow individually, or here's how she can grow individually. Slapping an A on a paper, from our perspective in a co-teacher model, is saying, here's an A, but then you as co-teachers are going, well, I know that she can't write perfectly, right? I know that she has areas of growth. And so therefore, what exactly does she need to work on? Does she need to work on her topic sentence? Does she need to work on her supporting details? Is her conclusion a little weak? So it's really more of assessments and grades are an evaluation tool to say, this is where our instructional needs need to be addressed per student or collectively in a classroom. So anytime we test, anytime we give a grade, it's really information about where instruction needs to go from there, and where as you as co-teachers need to step in and support your
Well,
students.
that's that with numbers, right? You have a 4.
Yeah, we do.
exceeding the expectations. So we need to talk
Yeah.
about that. Even talk about the 4.
That's right.
So,
Right, so the 4 can be
Four is right.
your A.
And there's even ranges within that.
That's right, that's exactly right. Thank you, Tracy.
And just as a home day mom, I've done this before, they do an exceptional job in one area, and I slap a big A on it and put it on the fridge. I mean, you can provide that encouragement.
I do that for her all the time, but when it came to the end of the school year, like she was like, I want my report card. I want to see all the straight A's. And, so I made up a report card and I did it for her.
I mean, you could just say the 4s equal A's. I mean, that's essentially what it is, right? It's like, satisfactory, above average. So you actually, and there's 4 levels, so you can assume the 4 levels are A through F kind of thing. So, yeah.
But I don't know why it just means a lot to her. She like strives for that. It's interesting.
Yeah. Yep. I totally understand that. I do understand that. Yes.
For the schoolwork that we do on home days, do we send those completed assignments back to school with them, or do we keep them like after we grade them, we just go home?
So that will be teacher decision, right? So there might be, for example, Carrie in 6th grade, she might say, please correct math, but then send it back because she wants to see it. So there will always be clear directions. Most of the time, if you're asked to correct or help revise or edit a paper, you're always returning that back to the teacher, the classroom teacher, because they want to see the progress. Yeah, so I would say to always err on the safe side, always send it when in doubt. Any other questions? Okay, so I'm going to turn it over to Christy Canada. She is going to be the familiar face. So remember, I am always accessible, but Christy is your go-to. She's the one that can answer just your day-to-day questions. She's there to support you. She's there to, get the tissue and the Band-Aids for your little ones. And so I'm going to welcome her. I actually need to go to a meeting right now, so I'm going to excuse myself. Thank you, everyone, for coming. I just cannot thank you enough. It means a lot just to see your commitment. And so I'm praying for you. God bless you. And Christy, see you. Sorry. Just walk past my desk here.
All right. Well, we are just about done with this session and can wrap up and move over to our other places. But any other questions for me as far as logistics, drop off, pick up? Boy, I did not have my school phone memorized, but I need to give that all to you. Amy, could you grab my cell phone, or do you have my school phone number?
I do.
This is a number that's really great to put in your phone. I have that phone on me all the time. The doorbell, if you ever need to get into the elementary room or elementary building, is like a ring doorbell, and that rings to my phone. If I happen to walk away from my phone for a minute, just pound on the door, somebody's going to let you in. Okay, so the elementary school phone number is 719-822-4836. So if you call that number, it will ring to me directly. You've got an orthodontist appointment, you need to pick up your kid early, the child forgot their lunch, any of those types of communications, all come to me. Is everybody clear on drop off and pick up and how our carpool works? If you have any individual questions, you can check with me about that. So, all right. Oh, yes.
Sorry, about recording absences. I know last year we did it through a specific.
Through the WooFoo app? I have not heard yet if that's coming back or not. I think it's kind of what's happening with COVID.
It is on the website. There's just a button, and I've always just gone there. Who was new last year? So if it's not there, just know. You just go on the website. There's a little button. You click it. You just fill out why, and that's
What is that? I'm sorry.
To report absences.
to report absences.
And now do you need it then to you attached to, or just go through that?
No, I get those notifications.
Oh, okay.
They come directly to me. Yep. Yep, off of that app.
Quick question, are we doing the staggered pickup this year, or is it 3:45 still?
It's 3:40. Pickup's at 3:40 until 4. Yep. Drop off is from 8:15. The gate opens, and then that gate will close at 8:30. And if you're late, we are trying to tighten the ship a little bit. So if you're here after 8:30, you'll need to come around to the front door, ring the doorbell, and come in and sign your child in. And that's because the way that we're doing attendance is different this year. So you'll need to come in, sign your child in, and then those tardies will be kept track of somewhat. And that's just because we only have 3 days. So if kids are perpetually late, that just interrupts class time and it takes away class time from everybody. So just trying to keep things a little bit tighter. Any other questions? All right, so you can grab some coffee on your way out. PK through 5th are all over in, that's called Emmanuel Hall over there. The elementary building is called Emmanuel Hall. This is the chapel. The high school is Butler. And then 6th grade is called Proverbs. So I didn't know that at first. I had no idea what Emmanuel Hall is. But Emmanuel Hall is the elementary. So PK through 5th, and everybody's going to be upstairs, and you'll see signs of which way to go. 6th grade is going to go over to Carrie in Proverbs. Most of you will have curriculum to pick up. 3rd, 4th, and 5th, when you are done in your meeting upstairs, come downstairs to, you'll see, just come down the stair steps and there's curriculum set out. I'm going to check that out too. That is curriculum, like your teacher's manuals that are going to be sent home with you and can be kept home all throughout the year. That way, when you have a question, you don't know how to do that math problem, you've got the teacher's manual. You can follow along in that. So I will check that out to each individual family, and then there's a rental agreement. There's no cost for that. That's already built into your tuition. Unless it doesn't get returned, then we have to charge you to replace it. But up front, there's no cost for that. So 3rd, 4th, and 5th have curriculum to pick up. 2nd does not. Kindergarten and 1st do, because you've got a lot of manipulatives to take home that you can use at home. PK, everything stays at school. So was that clear? Did I catch everybody? And Carrie's different. She'll explain all of that.
Is always weird.
Yes. All right, so make sure that you see me before you leave if you're in those grades that have some curriculum to check out. All right, any other questions?
So if we have kids, in my case, I have a kid in each of the 3 groups. What's the best way to handle that?
Yeah. So if you can't come back this afternoon, and you've got somebody in each of the 3 grades, I would recommend going to Carrie, because she's going to have everything, but at the hardest level, and then checking in with your lowest ones, because they're just going to have the manipulatives. But like in your case, you're familiar with manipulatives. Anybody else have a big conflict of where to go because you've got multiple kids? Everybody know where you're going? All right, 1, 2, 3, break.
Room on sign-ups in the back.
Oh yes, sign-ups.
I just call her
Oh my goodness, I forgot the drawing. All right, everybody wait. I have a big card. I forgot the fun part. All right. Can you pick a packet? Take a packet? Yep, pick a packet. Just like one single. Oh, sorry. Okay, got it. All right, here we go. Joanna? Oh, yay! Thank you for returning your stuff. Yes, now you're free.
I was going to ask, I know that there's some other teachers that are like elementary students. Is there any kind of like walking across the street thing that you guys do? Or nothing really set up.
There's nothing.
But if I took 5 semesters to come up or grab a student and say, hey, could you be in charge of walking
Okay.
across the street?
Okay. So if I just let you know and say like,
Just let us know who's gonna be dropping off.
yeah, like the senior is gonna be picking her up.
Yeah, and that's
I'm not sure yet how we'll do it, but I know Wednesdays I have an afternoon class, so I just don't know how fast I can
like
do
they
it.
do that.
Okay.
So you gotta eat and come and pick up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's where I feel like we're gonna do
Yeah, absolutely. She just keeps
keep
giving feedback, which is good.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
I'm gonna look into it. I don't know if this year would be my year, but no, my heart is very. It's just been so long since I've done it.
Yeah.
But I have.
Okay.
Okay.
And if,
I would be willing to
if it's
help.
like a deal
stress.
okay. Do you have a last
Yeah.
I do.
Perfect.
Yeah.
But it would
Yes.
introduce them.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
No. Yeah.
See you. Yeah.
So my husband and I last year, we talked about trying to start some kind of robotics for elementary school. Like, it's just the logistics of it. Would that be something that you could kind of do as a club after school?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And almost probably better to do it like that is to take a class together. Would be difficult of how to make that work.
Yeah. But also I know trying to get families to go back out again after dinner, it's also